Today I wrote something, and it's called My Journey to Anarchy, and I posted it on the Conscious Resistance Network and also on my own personal blog. I've kind of rejected the term anarchist or being labeled as an anarchist because of the negative connotations that are behind the word. Just really recently, actually, like within the past few months, I've decided I'm going to accept that label, and I'm going to kind of change what those negative connotations of anarchy means by being your personal example. At least I'm going to try. When I was in high school, I was friends with all of the conspiracy theorists. You know, we were just really into information that most people weren't into, and we got labeled conspiracy theorists. And that's probably a big reason why I kind of rejected having any labels for a while. Although I considered myself a conspiracy theorist, I never thought of it as a bad thing. People would say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, and they wouldn't really listen to my arguments or anything like that. I kind of consider my high school days as the beginning of my anarchist journey. I wasn't an anarchist at that time, and I didn't really know anything about anarchy except for what the mainstream media had expressed to me that anarchy was. And honestly, at first, I just felt overwhelmed. I was like, there's nothing I can do. I can't, make people understand what is happening at a faster rate. I can't do anything. I have to sit here and I just have to watch the world unfold and crumble and burn into ashes. That was something that was really hard for me to accept. I would have nights where I would just cry because I would think about these issues that are happening, and I couldn't figure out what could I do to stop them. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, because I don't, and I still have nights where I cry about trying to figure out a way to save the world. Through anarchy, I've figured out solutions that I can take right now, and that's the best I can do. In high school, Ron Paul was really big and getting a lot of attention, and all of my friends at that time were obsessed with Ron Paul. They were all telling me, vote for Ron Paul, go do this, go do that, Ron Paul this, blah, 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 blah. I just didn't care. Ron Paul was supposed to be kind of like the hero, and of course he didn't get nominated, and at this point, it doesn't even matter. If he got nominated, if he got elected, would the course of the United States path be different? I don't really think so. Obama is such a beautiful example of the hypocrisy, and people really believed him, and you need to look into some of his stuff, because he's got some dirty laundry that needs to be aired out big time. After I left high school, I got totally enwrapped in the college world for the next 6 years of my life. I was so enwrapped in that I didn't have time to really sit and think about what I can do. So it kind of got brushed to the side for a few years. Naira, my daughter, I think that she really kind of started the initial movement for myself. Around the time Naira was a year old, a little bit before that, maybe when she was 9 months old or something, I started really thinking about her food. I started getting a little bit obsessive about food. My thing is I just get obsessed about things, and then I just go on and on for a really long time. Because I was realizing that I was feeding my daughter this food, it really started to worry me. I was thinking about a lot of kind of controversial things and questioning them and trying to figure out what would be the best way, because my daughter needed the answer now, not tomorrow, not in 10 years, now. She needed it now. But yeah, that started getting me moving for a solution, okay? Because I was like, okay, these things are happening, I can't do anything about them, so what am I going to do right now? Stop supporting these businesses that produce genetically modified foods. So basically, I was using my dollar as my source of power, which really it kind of is. But I still didn't have this anarchistic view of going without the state. I didn't really realize that as a source or as a tool of freedom and how to achieve freedom. So the Houston Freethinkers, I started going there a few years ago. It had already been a thing for a few years prior to that. I thought it was really cool, but they weren't just talking about them, they were trying to figure out ways to change things. At first I wasn't very involved. Like I said, I was still going to school, I was still being a mom and a wife, and I was really trying hard to find this balance of everything. I realized how important it was to secure my daughter's freedom and safety. So at that point, there was just like this cascade of chaos in my life where a lot of personal things were happening. From that point, it kind of propelled me into this very active state that I feel that I'm entering now. I started singing about these problems that I saw. I was trying to find freedom for myself, and I was realizing that it wasn't going to be through the state, that there was no way that they were going to help me. I started really reading about, Voltaire, Emma Goldman. I've really been recently reading about Josiah Warren, and, Samuel Edward Konkin III. These women and men, they're amazing, and they were providing solutions to the problem. I feel that these women should have definitely been talked about in school, but that's a whole nother subject. So anyways, on my journey to anarchy, I started reading about these different anarchists. They didn't all necessarily label themselves anarchists. They were all working outside of the state to find a way to achieve freedom without any means of coercion, violence. They were trying to figure out a way to have freedom for everybody. That's very important to me. I didn't really like being called an anarchist. I didn't feel like having another label put on me that people were going to immediately dismiss once they met me. Although the world around me may view anarchy as chaotic, destructive, violent, naive, that's not what it is at all. It's a very beautiful philosophy. There have been people fighting this state for hundreds and hundreds of years, basically since states and monarchies have ever existed. Anarchy doesn't have to be violent, and it hasn't been allowed. The ones that are implementing violence are the people that are involved with the state. It's not me. Most of these people haven't read even these 4 people that I've mentioned. People grow up with this preconceived idea of what anarchy is. So my goal in accepting this label as an anarchist is that I want to show you what anarchy actually is. I want to show you how it can be a very peaceful and beautiful path to liberating yourself and your family and those around you. And it's not going to be easy to get there. Yes, there are going to be questions about who builds the roads, and what about the policemen, and what about the firefighters, and what about the schools? There's going to be those questions. They're going to happen, and we're really intelligent people, and we can find solutions and discover ways to make things better. That we've been put into a system already without our choice, and we've been taught it's the only way, and that's not true. I really want to make it a goal of mine to be the change that I want to see, and hopefully that resonates with you all. And maybe one day you'll see my path and you'll say, that looks cool and free. Let me join, and I will gladly open my arms to you. Think about what anarchy is, and I would suggest learning about or studying Voltaire, Goldman, Josiah Warren, and Konkin. first.